Hello there! In today's episode of the Cyberpunk series, we're going to be building a market, along with doing a ton of progress in the city. Because it's what I've done with all of the videos in this series so far, I thought it would be fitting if we started this video off with a small time-lapse as well. Now before I start talking about the stuff we're building in this time-lapse, I have to admit I did build a lot of stuff off camera, because for one I didn't think it would be that interesting to watch really, and also because editing all of that stuff would have been a pain. So those reasons, combined with a bit of laziness, are why I just kind of did that off camera. But I'll touch on that later during the live play. But anyways, right now you can see two things. So first of all, you can see that I overhauled the garage entrance a bit. So if you didn't watch any of the previous episodes, that garage is connected to the apartment building I built a few episodes back. And you know, the idea with that build was that I kind of styled the garage entrance like the building it was attached to. So that's what I was going for, but in the end I wasn't really that big a fan of it. So instead I integrated the garage entrance into this yellow building we're doing right now. And the second thing you can see is that I kind of integrated a laundromat into this yellow building. Because building one was suggested by one of you. I'm really sorry, I can't pronounce your name, but you should see the comment on screen right now. I'm doing it like this because I couldn't really dedicate an entire video just to the laundromat. But in my opinion, it's still a nice addition. What you see right now is me building the entrance to one of the things I've built off camera, which was a pretty big tower. Now I'm putting entrance in quotation marks because you can't actually access the tower. Now the entrance is kind of styled similar to the apartment building we've done a few episodes back, so it's kind of in a brutalist style. It doesn't look very inviting really, but I mean that's kind of on theme. Later you'll see that I also kind of figured out a new build tech while doing this. So I basically built some very steep roofs and kind of placed basic shapes with billboards on them, on those roofs. When I explain it like this, it sounds really complicated, but it's really quite simple. And that way the ads are kind of pointing down, so you could look at them better. Before I continue building, I'll show you all the stuff I've built off camera real quick. Now it is a lot, so first of all I've built this tower. I only did the front side. The back side is very empty. The second thing is I modified the street a bit, so it's a bit wider now, and there's a car park right here as well, which is just the usual kind of boring hatchback that I modified with structurals to make it look a bit more futuristic, I guess. Alright, but I also designed these parking meters using some basic shapes. This very expensive doorbell and a decal right here. I think it kind of fits the aesthetic. It looks very blocky, but that's what I was going for. But yeah, that's basically all the stuff I did off camera. But yeah, let's start with today's episode. I know that we got some kind of market stalls during the last update. And yeah, right, we have this wooden stall and this tiki table. I'm not 100% sure if these would kind of fit into a cyberpunk market. I mean, I'm sure you could make them work, but they are kind of big, which could be a problem. But before we start with that, we should probably write down which kind of stores we actually want to add into this build. So first of all, it should make a lot of sense to add in a food store, maybe something similar to this noodle shop we did a few episodes ago. Then a clothing store should work fairly well as well. We can also use vending machines to kind of fill in empty spaces. A store selling electronics is kind of on theme as well. And if we still have space after that, we can add in some more food stores. So while we're on topic, let's just start with the food store. For my first attempt, I will just use this regular food store. Or I have a different idea. We could also just use normal roofs. That way I can kind of decide myself how big I want the store to be. And I can also attach stuff to the ceiling. And I can also attach things to the ceiling. Nah, great. I'm not sure if you can hear it. I hope you don't. But there has been construction in the house, directly underneath my room, might I add, for honestly quite a long time now. It's probably been like more than 2 months at this point. But before I started recording, they've been drilling into the walls down there for more than half an hour. And I started recording kind of after they finished. But now they've started again. I'm not sure if you can hear it. I sure hope you can't. But I'm pretty sure that might destroy the entire recording. But hold up now. That means they've been drilling for more than 30 minutes now. Which, I mean, I don't know that much about construction, but if they keep drilling at this rate, I'm not sure there will be much left of this house when they're done. But to talk about something else than the questionable structural integrity of the house I'm living in, this market store doesn't look too bad, honestly. Now, up until now, I kind of designed this like a grill. As you can see by a grill being the literal only appliance in here. But something I've noticed is that this food canning station honestly looks pretty convincing for a store like this. But if you imagine a smaller stall, I think this would fit right in. And I mean, I will probably use it later at some point. But let's move on from this stall for now and start a new one. And for that I probably have to extend this entire market street a bit. 5 tiles should hopefully be enough. I don't want all of these stalls to sit right up against the wall, which is why I'm putting this stall kind of closer to the middle. Now thankfully the clothing stall will not need to be as detailed as this food stall. I hope it will just work out if I put down some pillars as kind of a support structure and then just kind of putting clothing racks underneath. One pretty big issue with these types of market stands is that they are very, very tall. I mean, here it's not that obvious, but here it definitely is, especially with the clothing racks underneath. Now this stall should look pretty messy, and these clothing racks are doing a pretty good job at that. Now we can come back to the food canning station, and I mean, if we put down some, oh, what is that? Was that like an update or something? Don't tell me I'm early to an update. Oh, never mind, it was an update. What is that stuff? I mean, this stuff looks interesting, but I don't think it will help me with this market at all. Oh yeah, right, now that I think about it, I also have to decorate all of these walls for this market to look good. Now look, I'm not opposed to putting effort into this build, but I am already behind schedule with this video due to procrastination mostly. Who am I kidding? It's it's procrastination entirely. But I'm not sure if I can finish both this build and the video in time so I can keep up my upload schedule. But okay, let's continue for now. That's 2 food stalls and 1 clothing store finished. So what's left now is an electronics store, and we don't have that much space right here. So I will make this store a bit longer but thinner. And then I'm just doing a basic design with these pillars. And well, what could this store theoretically sell? I'm not 100% sure. I feel like all the stuff in the electronics category doesn't feel like it would be used in a world like this. So I'm not sure if we can even build like an electronics store, at least the way I imagine it. So I don't know. I think what would make sense here were if I borrow some vending machines and plop them in there. I'm not sure if this feels a bit small for a market. Maybe I should add in some more stores. And I did add in 1 more store. You can see next to the clothing store, we're coloring right now, that I've put down one of the basic Bloxburg pre-built stores. Because honestly I just wanted to add one of those in because they are quite detailed. And honestly it was also way easier than doing another custom store. So that store will be another food related one. I think I put one of the new camping grills in there. But yeah, in this timelapse we're just kind of coloring and detailing up some of the stalls we did. We're also placing lots of trash on the streets. I don't think I've talked about it before in a video, but I did place a lot of trash on the streets because I feel that gives a lot of dystopian vibes, because it makes the city seem a lot more like dysfunctional and kind of falling apart. And it's also a pretty good way to make a build look a lot more detailed with not that much extra work. Now I started extending that yellow building. We started in the first time lapse. I also extended the laundromat around the corner. But now we're starting the biggest build in this time lapse. This build is only going to be an exterior, so it won't be furnished. And its only real purpose is to enclose the market, to make it feel a bit more realistic. On the basis, this build is actually pretty simple. It's again kind of inspired by the apartment building. I'm just a really big fan. But this build is not going to be as brutalist. I just took the idea of having short but long windows, which are kind of divided by basic shapes, or in this case structurals. Because I mean, you know, this build is not the main attraction of the area, so it doesn't have to involve any like crazy creative building techniques. So this next part is going to be a bit repetitive, but it's kind of important if you want to, you know, copy this entire build over. Because I'm going to show you how I built the exterior of this tower. Now it has been a while since I did this, so to be honest I don't remember that much myself. But yeah, so to build this, I first of all put these smaller pillars onto each corner. I mean, this far it's pretty straightforward. Next I placed these bigger pillars onto these spots on both sides. And the thing with this build is that, I mean, theoretically it's not difficult, but it's just incredibly repetitive. Yeah, but this next part is what makes this build interesting, at least to me. Because I mean, it's pretty difficult to build skyscrapers or towers in general in Bloxburg. Mainly because the scale kind of peels off, because, you know, we can only build up to 5 floors. And with this technique I kind of solved this. So I use these kind of, I think they're acoustic panels with the most recent tile texture, and from far away they kind of look like smaller windows, if you get what I mean. So that was kind of my strategy to make this build seem bigger than it actually is. Also, technically it is taller than build height, because this part right here is a roof. I probably should have talked about that as well. And well, the next step is to just fill up the walls with these panels. And what I did then was I used these structures to kind of split this entire build into sections. There isn't any practical reason behind this, I just think it looks way more interesting like that. Also, since the update dropped like mid-recording, I had some time to check it out, like properly. And I mean, even though it was a pretty minor update, it's not too bad in my opinion. Like yeah, it's not the map expansion everyone has been asking for, but I mean for a minor update, I do enjoy it a lot. The new items are alright. To be honest, the camping update is probably what I expected the least, but it's fun. And also that new bug catching feature is pretty fun as well. For now I didn't do it that much, but I see it as a nice extra feature in case you get bored of building. But now to get back to the build itself, I do have to finish the underside of this building. And frankly, I don't really know how. Honestly, I don't think we have to do that much more, except, you know, maybe paint the bottom side. After adding in some beams, this is probably good enough. And I just discovered these trusses, which kind of work perfect for this. But yeah, those are enough details. Now, there isn't any space for like any pillars and stuff to kind of hold this tower up. So this entire structure is resting on these two buildings. The person that built this thing must have had insane trust in the people that built these lower two buildings. Or maybe the construction was just sponsored by the local graveyard. Either way, I wouldn't set a foot near this thing if I saw it. But yeah, what's left now is the facade that's going to go right here. I don't really know what I want to put there yet. So that will probably also be a time-lapse. So take it away, narrator me. Thank you, live play me. This is the third time-lapse in one video, which is probably record-worthy for a video of mine. But yeah, right now I'm building the last kind of facade. This build is actually pretty interesting. I used lots of the special roofs. Right now I don't remember what they're called, but it's the roofs you use if you build like a very Japanese build, or if you build a Pizza Hut. And because these roofs connect to adjacent walls, it makes this very interesting looking building. I also used an interesting color scheme. So I used this kind of turquoise, reddish brown kind of color scheme, which I didn't use before, but works really, really well. I have to use that more often. But yeah, that's already it with this time-lapse. This was a pretty quick build. Considering this is the longest video in this series so far, there are surprisingly few things I can show you. But anyway, let's get started. This is the laundromat I've shown in the first time-lapse, and this is the entrance to this tower right here. I've already shown all of these things earlier in this video, so there's not really a need to go over these all. But yeah, if we walk into the market, to the right here we have this kind of food stall. Maybe it's a noodle shop, it's probably a grill. This place only has a grill and a microwave for appliances, so not a lot of stuff we can do with it. But over here we have another food stall. This one's probably serving soup or whatever. Right next to that we have this clothing store. It's pretty messy, but that's kind of on theme. On the opposite side there are tons of vending machines. Over here as well. I don't think I've shown this, but this is like where the people that live in this tower bring their trash. These are the same designs I've used in the apartment, by the way. But what I'm the proudest of are definitely these three buildings we've built in this episode. I think this is the most progress I've ever done in a video. Here we have this brown building. This build isn't as detailed as that one. I really did not have a lot of time when doing this, so I'll probably come back here later and detail it up a bit more. We also finished the back of this tower. I didn't talk about it, but this tower is inspired by the mega buildings of Cyberpunk 2077. And I'm thinking about maybe building a second one of these and actually furnishing it. So if you want to see that, comment it down below. But yeah, that's pretty much the entire video. Also comment any other video ideas you have. Thank you so much for watching, and bye!